All right, peeps, we are back alive again. So it's been a while since I've done a video. So many people that don't know that there was a shooting at a Walmart store. And for those that don't know, I actually do work for Walmart. So I work as a HR clerk. I've actually been on vacation, so I haven't seen anything at work. So we'll find out Friday when I go back. So I guess let's just get into this and see what the heck's going on, peeps.
Is an eyewitness to the deadly shooting inside that Walmart. She says she worked alongside the shooter one day before the tragedy and was inside of that break room when the suspect opened fire. Her name is Brianna Tyler. She's only been a Walmart employee, she tells us, for a couple of months, and she joins us now live from her home. Brianna, thank you for taking the time for being with us. How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm still processing things. I can't get the visual out of my head, but I'm okay physically, of course, but just mentally and emotionally, it's definitely a lot to take in. It definitely is a lot, but I'll be okay.
I'm glad to hear that. Being able to.
Pete, she literally said that as if like she's used to this shit happening. How the heck can you be? There is no way in the world that I would be sitting there in her position saying, "Oh yeah, I'll be okay, I'm just, okay." No. I would have PSTD, literally. Something like that happened at my job. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even be able to come onto a news channel. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I would probably end up quitting that job just so I don't have to deal with, the aftermaths of it. Because I wouldn't be able to, I mean, literally, I would be on edge being at a place where I know something like that could even happen. But, okay. Shout out to her.
Focus on that. I can't imagine. So tell us about those moments. You said processing it. What are you processing?
Yeah, what are you processing?
Well, I was literally just getting to work. Our shift is from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I got there a few minutes late. About 10:06 is when I clocked in on my phone.
Damn, 10 to 7. Wait a minute, they get an hour lunch or something? Yeah, they get an hour lunch. Because our third shift, they work from 11 to 7. So they get an hour lunch. That's crazy. Okay.
I walk to the break room like normal. That's where we have our nightly meeting of where everyone's going to be, stocking their particular section. Okay. And, I'm just standing there. There were a few things that seemed like off to me about that whole night that they stick out more to me now that situation has happened. Like just different things, like the maintenance man, who actually the first person to end up getting hit, he actually went around the entire room and gave everyone trash bags, which he doesn't normally does, so that stuck out to me. And then like to me about that whole night that they stick out to more to me now that situation has happened. Like just different things, like the maintenance man, who actually the first person to end up getting hit, he actually went around the entire room and gave everyone trash bags, which he doesn't normally does, so that stuck out to me. And
try to figure out in what universe do maintenance people go into a break room and literally hand every employee a trash bag. What?
And then, like, when I walked in the room, something in me told me not to sit down. I don't know exactly what it was, but something just said, just stand up, just stand up. And I just stood up the entire time. Okay. And as soon as the team lead said he was about to get the meeting started, he said, "All right, guys, we have a really light night tonight." And as soon as he said that, the supervisor or the manager just came around the corner and literally just opened fire and just started swaying his arm back and forth. He didn't have a target. He didn't, he wasn't aiming for anybody specifically. He literally was just shooting across the entire break room.
It's terrifying. I mean, that just sounds unimaginable.
So let me get this straight. I'm just trying to contemplate this. So let me make sure I got this correct. Okay. So I work in HR, so I'm trying to think about even our associates. Now they don't have their meetings in the break room. Each department actually have their meetings in different areas. One of the bigger ones I know where theirs is usually at. I'm trying to process. You're going to the break room, and the first thing you notice is a maintenance guy going around giving everyone a trash bag, which that is out of the ordinary. Now, she's a new employee, so I'm not gonna lie, if I was a new employee, I wouldn't even ask what this is for. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I know our maintenance people. I can tell you right now. And they came around giving me a trash bag. I'm like, what is this for? I literally would ask that because I'd be like, this is weird. You're giving, like, what are we doing? Right. Now, luckily, because I work in the DC, especially where I really work at, they had to go through AP. Now, unfortunately, the DCs, as far as I know, they don't have metal detectors, but I think after this, they might want to invest in that because AP typically will check bags. So if you bring a bag, they do check it. They're supposed to anyway. I do think there are some of our AP, at least 2 of them, that don't actually check stuff like that. And they're really supposed to check it each and every time you bring back and forth, even if you've been there the whole night, and stuff. But that's about all they do. I'm gonna be honest with you, and the fact that they saying it was a team lead that opened fire. She's saying that the team lead had a meeting, and then after that, the manager came around the corner, and so I don't know if he was a team lead or if he was a manager. Now you will have a team lead, and then you'll have a overnight manager, as far as I know, in the stores. So, okay, I'm definitely confused because, like I said, they said it was a team lead, or he was a team lead at Walmart, but she's saying that the team lead had a meeting with them, and the manager came around the corner. So I don't know. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I personally think she's gonna get reprehended for this because I did read. I guess I don't even know if I should even be saying this stuff, but technically, employees, when something like this is happening, are not supposed to actually are not supposed to talk to the media at all. They're supposed to actually refer the media to a specific number, or refer them to HR. Your clerks, if you work in a DC, stores don't have clerks. They just have basically they usually just have like an office manager. I guess that's what they're called. They're technically part of HR, but I would not be shocked if she actually got reprehended for this, just because of the fact that you're really supposed to defer all of this stuff. But she may have gotten permission. I don't know. But protocol for Walmart, and like I said, I don't know if I should even be saying this, is that you're not supposed to talk to the media, period, about any type of events or anything that happens with the company. So let's continue.
Imaginable. And how did you keep yourself safe? You just hit the deck? Did you run?
I honestly, at first, I froze because I thought I was in like a simulation. It felt fake in the very moment, because I'm literally looking at this man and I see the smoke leaving the gun, but it's just not registering to me because I think it was the fact that I recognized his face. If it were someone that I had never seen before, then I feel like it would have been realer in that moment. But the fact that this is somebody that I worked with and I talked to and I was next to every day, it was just like, this can't be real. And so I saw all of my coworkers diving onto the floor, and I'm just looking around like, what's going on? And then once I saw blood, I was like, oh, this is really real. And then that's when it processed that, like, you have to run or you're gonna die. And then I just booked it through the store, and all I kept saying was, don't trip, don't fall, don't look back, just run. And that's exactly what I did. I just ran straight for the front door.
Cannot imagine what you went through. Tell us, if you can, a little bit about the supervisor, about the shooter. You said you felt uneasy about that employee meeting leading up to the shooting. Was it because of something about the supervisor, about the shooter?
Not necessarily that night, like not necessarily last night, but I would say he was just the supervisor that everyone warned everybody else about. So when you first started at that job, it was like, okay, this is the supervisor that is most likely going to pick on you, or he's going to have an issue with what you do and things like that. So, I had it noted in the back of my head that, oh, okay, cool, we might run into an issue, but I never thought that it would be anything to this extent. Because like I said, he didn't say anything. He didn't point to anyone specific. He didn't aim at anyone specific. It was like he was just out to get any and everybody that he worked with. He genuinely just did not care.
And Brianna,
I want to say something. I want to say something. And if I get in trouble for this, that's fine. But this is something that needs to be said. So, companies, Walmart, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, I don't care what you big corporations, okay? HR, I want y'all to listen to me. Focus, listen to me, okay? We need to do a better job at, number one, identifying this type of stuff. When you have I will tell you right now that HR people have to know that there are things like things like this. They have to know. Matter of fact, I think they said that this manager, whatever he was, been with Walmart for 10 years. I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is gonna come to a shock to everybody, but there are tons of people at Walmart that's been there for 5+ years. Okay, you're gonna have tons of. Matter of fact, you actually have more people who's been there for 10, 15, and 20 years. But HR needs to do a better job at identifying these type of things. When you hear rumors, when someone comes to you and says, "Oh yeah, this supervisor this and this supervisor that," we need to start paying more attention to this type of stuff, because there are supervisors out there. I've even heard from applicants from other DCs that there are supervisors that they just do these oddball things. It's almost like they're trying to chase the employees out. We need to start doing something to identify these type of supervisors and have chats with them. Not be afraid at chatting with these supervisors and saying, "Hey, you need to come in and act like you got some damn sense." Okay? Being a supervisor doesn't mean that you get to just play around and just, say whatever you want to say and do whatever you want to do. You got to lead by example. That's where that's where the issue is coming from. When you have employees, first off, employees you should not hear employees say things like, "Oh yeah, that supervisor there, you got to watch out for him because he do A, B, C, E, F, G." Okay? When I sit there, I'm going to give you an example where I'm currently at. I literally have I had an opening for a position. And I went around and asked people about, "Well, won't you take this opening?" And you know what the response I got was? "Oh, I want to work for that person." And when I asked them why they don't want to work for that person, it's because of I'm not gonna say attitude, but it's the personality. That's why they don't want to work for that person. And it's not just one or two people. This is like a multitude of people. Matter of fact, it's sad. This is first shift, 7 to 3. You're gonna get your hours because the other departments don't really get all their hours. And they don't even want to go to this department because of this supervisor. And I brought it up. Okay. Now I don't think this supervisor isn't a threat. I'm just gonna be honest with you; they're not a threat. But these are the things that we gotta start. HR gotta start stepping up and figuring out, why is it that people don't want to come to your department? We can't have supervisors like that running a department. You just can't. And that's where HR is going to have to start doing a better job at, is identifying these type of things, especially if it gets brought up to them. They need to start investigating, because you don't know what you see. What she just basically said, that this was a supervisor that everybody, she literally started, and people said to her, "Hey, you gotta watch out for this person." There is no reason. And then I would even question her, did you go to HR with this information? Another thing, I'm gonna go back to the associates, the people that work at Walmart. When you have this type of information, you need to bring this up to HR. And I'm not talking about just one of y'all. I need y'all as a collective go in. I need y'all to storm HR and let this information be known, right? There is no reason why, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if that would have happened, that supervisor, whatever, he probably wouldn't even been working there no more, because there could have been an investigation. Another thing about Walmart employees, and she probably don't know this because they don't really teach you this, they actually have something called an open. I don't know if I should be telling y'all this, but I will tell you this. They have an open door policy. What that is basically you call a number, you can get online, you can type in all this information in, and it's the responsibility of HR and the office managers to actually investigate. They actually have to investigate because they have a certain amount of time to actually write a report and send it off to we have an ethics line too. So they're the ones that all that filters through. If it doesn't get investigated in a certain amount of time, then it gets escalated to your store manager's boss. Okay, or I think it goes to the store manager or the GM, and then from there it goes to his boss, and then it just goes up, and then they have to do an investigation. Then it goes to corporate. So that's all I want to say on that. Let's continue.
You said it was a handgun that he was using?
Yes.
You got a sense of how many shots he got off?
He let off probably about 8 to 10 in the break room alone.
Okay.
Like, he was just literally just swaying his arm back and forth, and he was just shooting. I would say he let about a whole clip out. I would.
And Brianna, you say you've been working at that store for just a couple of months. What more can you tell us about the suspect? Did you have a sense that this was a guy who wasn't right?
I mean, he always gave off like he was like the loner type. Like, he was quiet and to himself. I will say that.
You know, I hate to say this, and I really shouldn't say this. I really hate to say this because I'm the loner, quiet type. Listen, but I have to say this, okay? We gotta start being discriminatory. I'm just gonna be blunt with you. We gotta start being discriminatory. Y'all don't like to hear this because it's a truth. There's your results right there, right? I don't have to give you proof. It's right there. The loner type, the quiet type. And that old saying, yes, the quiet types you gotta look out for, but it really is. The loner, the quiet type. And this is gonna be HR. This is an HR thing. This is also a man. We gotta do a better job, I think, in corporate America when it comes to this. Is kind of the whole purpose of why HR exists, supposedly. We gotta start doing more employee engagement, especially with the ones that are the loners or the quiet types, right? There are people at my place that come in and they work. And you know the funny thing is, I will go and say hi to them. And it's actually funny because, to be honest with you, I'm actually more close to them than I am to the ones that are like, they just talk to whoever. And it's interesting because it gives you insight onto what someone is thinking, feeling, doing. But she's right. You gotta figure out what are your quiet types, your loner types, and you gotta keep an eye on them. Engage with those people. And engaging doesn't mean going on there and just chatting their ear off. Engaging means just saying, "Hey, how you doing? You know, you doing all right? Cool, cool. You doing anything for the weekend? You know, the weekend's coming. You know, you know what I do? I'm gonna be honest. This is what I do as an HR assistant. I go out there and I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably shouldn't be saying this or even doing this, but I'll go out there and tell them, man, I'll literally do this. I'll be like, you know what? I'll be glad when I get off today. This has been a long week. This is crazy. I'm like, what time y'all getting up? Damn, y'all working 10 hours a day. Shit, you got some PTO? Shoot, I'll be taking PTO right now. That's what I do. I'm not gonna lie. I do that. But you know why I do that? Is because that other person knows now, wow, this dude is saying all this and he's in HR. You get that, and I'm not being fake or nothing, by the way. I really mean what I mean. I mean, if I was in that position, I'd be trying to take PPTO. You know, I've been trying to get people to take vacation time. Listen, people are you got to relate to people. And that's the thing that HR don't do. That's why I got into HR. Shoot, it's raining outside. But yeah, this is crazy, peeps.
He just, he gave off the vibe that was just like, you don't talk to him unless you have to. Like, I've never once had like a joyous, fun conversation with him. It was always about work, and that.
I will tell you right now, if y'all look at the picture of this guy, I will tell you right now, just looking at him, I don't even know how the hell he even became a lead. And I know I shouldn't say that because you can't judge well, come on. You say you can't judge a book by its cover, but you literally see this dude. He looks like someone that if you even look at him the wrong way, he'll knock your ass out. I mean, I'm just being truthful. You know, I don't know what else to say, but
that was it. So whereas with everybody else, a lot of people, they laugh, they joke. I have other supervisors that I can, talk to casually. But with him, it was always just like a straight shot. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is what it is. So he wasn't like the fun, bubbly type of person. So
right.
I can't really say anything about him other than everybody just about had a trivial issue with him at one point. But nobody, right. I don't think anybody could have ever guessed that he would take it to this extent.
Right. Whatever this is, he kept inside of him. Now, how has the store and the company responded to employees after the shooting? Have you heard from anyone to reach out to you, make sure you're okay, you're doing all right, do you have what you need?
I haven't heard from anyone officially. I have talked to my other coworkers, and they've asked that, if I was okay. There were coworkers outside of the store last night, of course, after everything happened, so we were all checking in with each other. Someone did come up to me and get my first and last name and make sure that, I was accounted for in the group of the employees, good. But I haven't spoken to, any, corporate or any, a store managers or anything like that. No, not yet. No, sir.
You know...
That is not good, peeps. That is not good. Because I know this has been, what, a day now? Is this store even still open? Like, is it actually open still? Because I can't imagine them having something like this happening. And then they still reopen up the store. I mean, they keep the store open the next day. But this is not good. Because the next day, here's the thing, because the overnight crews typically are going to be smaller. So there technically is not an excuse to not check up on her. Matter of fact, they should have gotten phone call. Now, maybe they did. Maybe they did. She just didn't check her phone, check her voicemail, because you know how people are today. They don't check their voicemail. But I would have, I mean, even as a, I mean, I don't know what to say on that. Like, their office managers should have checked up on, like, been calling to make sure that all of them are good, to make sure that they're okay. Let's just continue watching. Let's just continue.
Brianna, I must say, I'm just so impressed with how strong you are. in this moment. It's
Thank
a
you.
terrifying, terrifying situation. I mean, have you learned, I mean, it's early, but have you learned something about yourself and about life, or is that just a ridiculous question?
No, not ridiculous at all. I would honestly say, even though it is still early, I know that I'm handling and I know it's going to set in more, but I know that I'm handling this a lot better than most people. So I would just say it's definitely taught me how strong I am, and just to really live life to the fullest. Like I'm 28 and I have a 4-year-old son, and that seeing my life flash before my eyes, I feel like it definitely taught me that life can literally be taken from you at the blink of an eye. Like you can be doing something as innocently as trying to go to work, and your life can get taken from you that fast. So I would just say, just reach out to the ones you love, keep an open relationship with them, do your best, like just be a good person, because at the end of the day, you genuinely never know when you will look your child or your mother in their eyes again.
Amen to that. Breonna Tyler, we want to thank you very much for being with us. We want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and the thanks that you have for making it out, you know, communicates something to all of us. So thank you very much for being with us. Good luck.
Thank you. No problem. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Listen, Walmart, if y'all watching this, y'all need to step up, make sure those employees are called. All of them on Thursday. Make sure they're called. Make sure they're okay. Make sure they got what they need. I know that we have a program, Resources for Living, that they can utilize. That should have been like that. Really, what the call should have been about. It doesn't even have to be. It could be literally a 3-minute call, but all these employees should have been called. They should have been called. They should have checked up on them, make sure they're okay. Give them the number to Resources for Living, because not all employees know that exists, and it's actually literally a counseling. I don't. It's basically a counseling type situation. It's almost similar to the little, like if you ever like suicidal or have any issues, this is what you would call. You could talk to someone. These are like counselors, therapists, stuff like that. But yeah, they should have been contacted the next day, checked up on, given Resources for Living, and kind of disappointed in that. Now, I can't. I mean, I hate to say this because I don't know what's really going on with that. But maybe. I mean, I don't know. I just, me personally, I don't think there's any excuse unless they just cannot go back to the store at all. If they just can't go back to the store at all, I understand that. But I, but I can't even say that because I don't know, because I don't know about the store level, but some of the managers and some of the office managers and HR people typically have their own laptops that they carry with them. But I don't know if the stores do that. But definitely they need to do that. They need to contact all the employees for sure. I don't have any commentary as far as what I just said. It's unfortunate because
yeah, and Bill, as
let's just watch this news clip because I haven't watched this yet, so let's watch it.
you mentioned, state police, a part of this investigation, still very active, as you can see behind me. Along with state officials, there are local and federal investigators trying to piece this all together. Meanwhile, people coming to grieve out here with a makeshift memorial set up behind me, and those who survived the shooting itself just questioning what happened and why.
When he started firing, I kind of ducked down with my daughter. There was another lady beside me.
Elise Delgado describes the moment Tuesday night's shooting began as she checked out with her 8-year-old. Taking shelter behind a shelf, she ran to safety when seeing another woman trying to escape.
When I saw that there was no shooting towards her side, I took my daughter and ran out as the guy was still shooting.
Police say the first 911 call came in at 10:12, with officers arriving 2 minutes later and in the store 2 minutes after that. But by the time they found the shooter in the store's break room, along with 2 victims, he'd already killed himself. This customer says she'd heard dozens of shots while trying to hide.
I just ducked down, I took off my shoes so they couldn't hear me moving, and I ran to like the men's clothing section and got like hid under where the jeans were.
In total, 6 people plus the shooter were killed, and police have identified the suspected gunman as 31-year-old Andre Bing. Walmart.
Now, I want y'all to look at this. I don't know where they got his photo from. Look at this man. Does this look like a guy that you would think would be a manager or a lead? Seriously. So I'll take a good look at that man. Where the hell did they even get a photo like that? That like a damn mugshot. Where the heck did they get this photo from? What the heck?
Walmart says he was an overnight team lead at the store and had worked for them since 2010. While no motive has been released, police say he had a handgun and multiple magazines on him.
I'm taken back by the whole experience, but I'm just thankful that he survived.
4 people were also injured in the shooting, including Kimberly Shoup's 24-year-old son who works at the store. She says he told her it was a normal shift and they'd gathered for their daily meeting in the break room when suddenly Bing started shooting, including hitting her son in the back.
He made it to the front of the store, and then when he made it to the front of the store, he was shot again by the same person. And at that moment, that's when he received help from another co-worker that took him outside to her vehicle until the medic showed up.
Wednesday afternoon, it remained busy outside the store as local, state, and federal investigators continued to process the scene. Meanwhile, people who were inside at the time were escorted back in to retrieve their things, while many stopped by a makeshift memorial to the victims, offering condolences for the...
Okay, so they were able to go back into the store to get their stuff, so I would think that the office manager... See, I'm thinking too much.
...suffering loss just before the holidays.
Just love one another during this time, especially during Thanksgiving. Just love the ones that you're surrounded by.
And this evening, officials have released the names of most of those killed in this shooting. They are 38-year-old Brian Pendleton, 52-year-old Kelly Pyle, 43-year-old Lorenzo Gamble, 70-year-old Randy Blevins, and 22-year-old Tynika Johnson. A 16-year-old boy was also killed in this shooting, but his name is being withheld because he is a minor. And again, back out here, officials expecting to be on scene for several...
Wait a minute. Hold on. Because these are all employees of Walmart. They got a 16-year-old working overnights. What? Huh? How?
Days, and they are asking for anyone who is inside the store that hasn't been interviewed or might have tips to help them out to please get in touch with them.
Out front now, Jessie Wilczewski. She witnessed the shooting at the Chesapeake Walmart. In fact, she's working there. It was just her 5th day on the job.
Shit.
Jessie, thank you for being with us tonight. I know this is tough. You were in that break room when the gunman came in. You saw a lot.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through, Jessie, what you saw and what happened in those moments?
Before every shift, we have a meeting in the break room right at 10 o'clock, and mostly everybody was in there, and the meeting had just started, and all of a sudden, I looked straight instead of looking off where the other guy was talking, and the other team lead is in the doorway, and he's got his hands like that, And at first it didn't even look real. It didn't register as real. It the only thing that made it real was the vibrations hitting your chest and the ringing from the gun going off. And it just kept going and going and going. And I got under the table and he left the room and went left down the hallway. And I was looking at my other coworkers around me on the floor and leaned over in the chair. And I didn't want to be loud. I didn't want him to hear me and make him mad, to make him come back, because I don't even know where he went. And I didn't leave. I stayed. Just I couldn't. I wouldn't want to be left alone, even if they weren't there, or if they were there. I don't even know. I tried really hard not to look, and the sound of the droplets, it replays and replays and replays and replays and replays of how much blood was coming off the different chairs. It was making a rhythm, and it was one of the most disturbing things. I think we'll never let go of that.
I mean, it's understandable. It's so you're under the table then for safety. You talk about feeling the bullets as the shots rang out, feeling that in your chest, hearing the blood from your coworkers, watching them in those moments. As I understand it, the shooter did look at you at one point and basically let you go.
At the very end, I was hiding underneath the table, and he told me to come out, and I had my bag, and I put my bag out first as like a, please, I don't have anything, you see my hands type thing. And I slid out out underneath of the table, and I'm shaking, and I probably looked like a chihuahua at that point. And he just had the gun up to my forehead, and this is really hard.
Did he say anything to you in that moment, Jesse?
In the world?
He told me to go home. And he took the gun away from my forehead, and he was aiming it at the ceiling, and he said, Jesse, go home. And I got up real slow, and I tried not to look at everybody on the ground or even look. And I had to touch the door, which was covered. And I walked out the double doors to where you can see the aisles in Walmart. And I made it right to where the egg aisle starts. And I just remember gripping my bag and thinking, if he's gonna shoot me in the back, well, he's gonna have to try really hard, because I'm running. And I booked it, and I didn't stop until I got to my car. And then I had a meltdown in my car.
I think it would be hard not to in that moment. This is all still so raw, understandably. And I know that in addition to what you saw and what you went through, you also knew at least 2 of the victims. And one of the reasons that you wanted to talk with me tonight was because you want their families to know something. You have a message for them. What do you want their families to know, Jesse?
For the 2 girls' families that were sitting in front of me, and I'm not going to name any names, but I want to let you know I could have ran out that door with everybody else that ran out that door, and I stayed. I stayed so they wouldn't be alone in their last moments because I knew there was no way. As bad as everything was, there was no way. And I stayed, just so they wouldn't be alone.
And they weren't. You were there. There's been a lot of talk about this person who was your manager. I know this was only your 5th day there, and you didn't interact with him a lot. But was there anything that stood out to you, anything in those interactions where you could have imagined a scenario like this?
No. I interacted with him one time before this, and it was me bringing up my kid. How much this overnight thing is like really kind of toying with me in some hours. Like when I look at the clock, and I'm like, man, I just want to get home. And he asked me how old my kid was, and I told him 15 months, and he said a cute age, and we walked our separate ways. Never, ever in my life would I ever wish this upon anybody, and it's horrible because it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop replaying when you leave the scene. It doesn't stop hurting as much. It doesn't stop. And it sucks because you really want it to. You just want that little bit of that you had before all this.
Okay. So she's only been there for 5 days. 5, 4. Yeah. So I think that's the only 2 that they have. I was trying to see if there was any more. So she didn't really see anything being there for 5 days. So, but the other girl did, and sad that this is going on. With all these guns, there's so many stuff going on. You have the stuff that's going on at in Idaho. Heck, we just had a lady here that got killed. Uh, this crazy lady trying to take her baby, the unborn baby. Then you have the Idaho thing. And there was another, the Colorado shooting. I don't know what y'all gonna do. America, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gun ho, gun happy. Y'all want these guns. I told y'all months ago. This is gonna continue happening. You don't hear stuff like this going on in Japan. You don't hear about it in China. You don't hear about it in the Philippines. I don't hear about it really in Australia. I mean, of course their gun law. I don't know. I heard something weird about their gun laws, but Sweden, Norway. So I don't know what y'all gonna do with these guns. I don't know. You can't even go to work because you might get killed. But hopefully, hopefully there's some lessons that we can take from a lot of this, and I, I don't know what to say on this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a lot of thoughts because I think some of this could have been prevented, but I think more than now, a lot of businesses are gonna have to start. They gotta start checking in and do employee engagement with their employees, so this type of stuff doesn't happen. That's all I'm going to say on that. Anyways, peeps, I am out of here. Y'all take care. Peace. I am gone.